that's CJ on the track.
Governor of college football, we're going to recap ACC. Black Scully on check. Got a little black tea on check. Welcome to another marvelous episode. My bad about that original cold open that I didn't realize. I finally got my mic back, and inside of OBS, you got to make sure that your mic sources are where they need to be, and I forgot to just copy the mic over. But welcome to another marvelous episode. On today's docket, we're going to get into our AP poll top 25 reaction. Also, we're going to react to some games today. We're going to react to that game down in Columbia, the Alabama versus Missouri game. Game that really frustrated me, to be honest with you, but it was a damn good game nonetheless. Indiana upsets Oregon this past weekend. We're going to talk about that game. Another great reaction. Michigan and USC. That game was brilliant. It's brilliance for a myriad of reasons. I don't want to get why I believe that game was brilliant. I'll talk to you about that a little bit later. And then Black Sunday. 3 coaches fired yesterday. Black Sunday. This is college football. And this is college football, I think, in its peak form. I tweeted out a lot on Saturday. An awful lot. Like, each and every week I've come to you on this show and say, in my opinion, each week continues to get better. Jalen had an outstanding opinion. He said he believed it was either week 4 or week 5. It was the best week of the season so far. But in my opinion, in my estimation, like, things just continue to get better. We're getting upsets each and every week. And this season is very reminiscent of the 2007 season. Now, we haven't had quite the movement that we had at the number 2 spot like we did back in 2007 when nobody wanted to hold on to that spot. But when we look at the upsets, we look at the parity that this sport is bringing week in and week out. Like right now, I'm in a pick'em league, and I don't think anybody has like an outstanding record, to be honest with you. And that's because of the type of upsets you get. Like, you know, we're not going to talk about the BYU Arizona game this weekend, but Arizona looked like they should have won their game, and they didn't win that game. So it is so much to talk about today. I'm so glad to be back live. Hopefully you guys enjoy the treats that I gave you on Thursday and Friday, which were film breakdowns. I love that. I absolutely love doing that, and I'm going to be doing it some more. You guys will see it this week. My apologies for this things being sporadic as far as when I go live. I'm just trying things. And one thing that I have noticed is, and this is thanks to you guys, we're definitely getting more viewership on YouTube. So I'm going to continue to be sporadic and continue to try to get this content out. So after this episode, just expect on YouTube a bunch of miniature episodes, not miniature episodes, but just segments uploaded from this show. But Governor of College Football, hashtag GoCFB, CFB Nation, only college football destination. Let's get it. Governor of College Football, we're going to recap ACC.
Hey, that's CJ on
Defensive
the
minds.
track.
They have to be better on that side of the ball. Alrighty, into the news. A lot of great things happened this weekend. A lot of outstanding football this past weekend, and we are not worthy of this college football that we've gotten this year. And also, what I like to add to that is that cannot Hart take more of this? Each and every week, we kind of start to say, alrighty, we get into the meat and potatoes of the season. We should start feeling like, hey, we got a good grasp on this thing. You can kind of tell who's who, but then you really don't. Like, I thought I had an outstanding read on Missouri this past weekend, and we're going to talk about Missouri a great deal. And I was confused about the game a lot. And I'll talk about it more during that segment, but I just couldn't believe the time of possession disparity in that game. And then watching that game, just Bo Perbilla, he was inside his head a lot that game too. But Iowa defeated Wisconsin 37-0. One of the head-scratching moves of this offseason prior to the season starting, in my opinion, was Wisconsin decided to say, all right, Luke Fickell, the first 2 years have been struggles. You went away from the offense that made Wisconsin, that made Wisconsin football. Alrighty. Make that change at offensive coordinator. We want to go back to what we do well. And 37-0, right? They extended them. They gave him the money. They wanted to show, hey, we have your back. You have our support. We know that you're going to get this done. We believe that you are the guy that we hired, that coach, to get this job done here in Madison. And it's interesting. Like, it's just, in my opinion, in my estimation, it's not working out. The loss to Maryland was a head scratcher, even though Maryland is a few plays away from being undefeated. Like the loss to Nebraska, the loss to Washington last week when they allowed Washington to come back was frustrating as well. But in all honesty, to be completely transparent with you all, changes may need to happen at Madison. Granted, this. I was going to always be able to run the ball. That's going to always be their identity. I expect them to be a little bit more successful passing the ball this year, and I thought Mark Gronowski would be a great fit for them with Tim Lester's scheme, to be completely transparent with you. That hasn't really happened. And it was the way that they lost that game. To lose a game 37-0, and it's against a team who offensively shouldn't scare you. Offensively, they're going to be one-dimensional, and you can't handle that. And listen, I gave Phil Parker all of the credit, heading into the season about no matter who they move to the NFL, no matter who leaves, his ability to coach X's and O's and find players that fit his scheme, they continue to do it. They continue to do it at a high clip. And that's what's the most amazing thing about them. But 210 yards rushing, they forced 3 first-half turnovers. Does changes need to be made in Madison, right? Does changes need to be made? Over the last 4 games, Wisconsin has been outscored 74-7 in the first half. I'm a Luke Fickell guy. I thought Luke Fickell was an outstanding hire. I thought that Luke Fickell will bring the culture that is needed in Madison. But right now, men lie, women lie, results don't. And college football is the most results-oriented business. Hey, we can look at everything you do in the offseason, just like we do here, because we don't celebrate offseason at CFB Nation. We can say, okay, you guys are making all the right moves. All the intel is coming out outstanding after the winter workouts. It's even better intel after spring camp. Summer workouts, wow, players are looking bigger. The nutrition plans are working. Their strength and conditioning coaches are really getting everything that they need to get out of them. And then we get to fall camp, like, wow, this team could be really good. And it's hard to kind of decipher during fall camp, because after a while, and I've always felt this way, in the beginning stages of fall camp and probably in spring camp as well, you'll see the offense get ahead of the defense. But after a while, you collect the intel, and the defense should at some point get ahead of the offense. At this point, my question is, and yesterday was certainly Black Sunday, and we're going to have an entire Black Sunday segment with all of the coaching firing that happened yesterday. But my question is, should Luke Fickell have been a part of that coach's firing? Like, should he have been a part of that? Because I know with the extension, I'm sure it didn't make his payout friendly, but these programs, a lot of these programs have a lot of money. Some programs have more than most, right? And there are other Big Ten programs. There are certainly, the resources are more plentiful. But at the end of the day, if this is a results-driven business, we are paid for for our results. College football doesn't pay you for your hard work. College football pays you for your results. It's different than a lot of businesses. A lot of businesses, hey, you work hard, you keep your job, it is what it is, right? The results don't matter. If you're working in an assembly line, your results don't matter. Even if you look at the assembly line and say, hey, this thing could be, 8 seconds better, per few minutes, and then you start adding that up over the time period of a year, then you realize the inefficiencies that you have in your system. Well, college football isn't like that. It is 100% a results-driven business, and if you are achieving results, you will keep your job. If you're not achieving results, you shouldn't keep your job. And though I am a fan of Luke Fickell, at this point, he does not deserve to be the head coach of Wisconsin. I know that's tough to say, and I know people probably don't think I'm qualified to say it, but at the end of the day, if this is a results-driven business and you're paid for your results, right now Wisconsin aren't yielding those results. I'm not sure that they even sniff bowl eligibility this year or be a game or two under it. Like, let's just be honest, right? That's just how I feel about it right now. Ohio State, 34, Illinois, 16. Illinois continues to break my heart. They did it the Indiana game where they got embarrassed on national television. They did it this game as well. But I don't think there can be enough said about the poise that Julian Sayin have. He's playing outstanding. A lot of poise. Kid just looks wise beyond his years. But then again, it goes back to Matt Patricia and what this defense is doing. And they broke it down on game day so beautifully. You guys know I'm a X's and O's guy, so I love seeing them break it down, how on one half of the field they're running a cover 2, and the other half of the field they're running man. To me, that's NFL like coverage. So when you're trying to design plays to beat what you think is a zone, but they run a zone on one side, that will confuse experienced quarterbacks who are playing in the National Football League, let alone who are playing in the NCAA. It's just a difference. So this defense continues to impress. Luke Altmaier did throw one interception this game. They just couldn't get much going downfield. When your wide receivers struggle to create separation and you're playing a coordinator like Matt Patricia who's going to disguise his coverages, they're going to send simulated pressures, it's just difficult to beat them. It really is difficult to beat them. And, yes, Luke Altmaier, like I said, threw for 248 yards, a touchdown, and did throw his first interception of the season. I still think he's an outstanding quarterback. I feel like I jinxed him in a way with me talking about him being an unsung hero, but my feelings about him haven't changed. The Red River Rivalry. Do you call the Red River Rivalry the Red River Rivalry? Do you call it the Red River Showdown, or do you call it the Red River Classic? What do you call it? That was a discussion we had on College Football Showdown a few days ago, and I was kind of wondering, what does everybody call that game? That game isn't a surprise to me, and yes, I picked Oklahoma to win. And the storylines after the game was like, did they rush Moneyline Mateer? Did they rush John Mateer back into this game? We saw like early in the game, they had to refix the little bandage that they had on his thumb. He was bleeding profusely like early in the game. And in my opinion, Texas played outstanding from a physical perspective. Football games are won in all three phases. It's not just offense. It's not just defense. It's not just special teams. It's all three of those units playing collectively as a unit. And we saw Oklahoma lose in all three perspectives. Texas defense played better than Oklahoma's defense. Texas special teams played better than Oklahoma's special teams. Texas offense played better than Oklahoma's offense. We seen them win in all three facets of the game. All three facets they was able to win this game. And that's impressive to me. Arch Manning. His number's not going to wow you to 21 or 27 or 166, but sometimes when you're playing an outstanding defense, like a Brent Venables coach defense who's going to play with great discipline, and they're not going to really give you a lot. You take what a decent defense gives you. There's going to be times you're going to have to make plays, but the key to me was the 21 to 27, 166 yards, touchdown, and 0 what? That was the most impressive thing about me in this game. Oklahoma, it could be a minor setback for a major comeback. The season's not lost. I still don't think the season is lost for Texas, even with 2 losses on the season. We're about to see some real cannibalization in the SEC. I wasn't sure what to expect in a game like Arkansas and Tennessee, and Arkansas pushed them to the limit. Wasn't sure what to expect in a game like UGA and Auburn. Auburn pushed them to the limit and had opportunities to win that game. Hugh Freeze is another guy whose name is going to be on the chopping block soon if they can't get it together. Texas A&M and Florida. Texas A&M was dominant, but Florida had opportunities. Like, this is what we're going to get in the SEC. LSU beating South Carolina. LSU still hasn't scored over 20 points offensively versus a Power 4 unit. How will that play out for them later in the season? We're going to get SEC cannibalization. And I think the thing that people aren't prepared for, yes, there's a lot of teams in the SEC with outstanding records. Ole Miss, Texas A&M are still both undefeated. UGA and Alabama are surging in the right direction. Texas just got a huge win this weekend. LSU got a huge win this weekend. But they all have to play each other. So in a world where the College Football Playoff Committee has said, all right, so we haven't told you guys our metrics before, but the strength of schedule metric will be numero uno for this year's rendition of the College Football Playoff. But how will they do that if everybody got, 3 and 4 losses? Not everybody, because somebody got to have, lose a record or be mediocre. But what happens then? Like, how does that play out? And you got teams in other conferences that got 1 loss. Like, there's going to be some severe cannibalization in the SEC, and I'm not sure we're ready for it. Colorado upsets number 22 Iowa State in Boulder. Great win for Coach Prime. I wasn't more happier for anybody than Caden Salter because I know this kid got it. I watched him during his time in Lynchburg at Liberty. I've seen this kid play, I think, probably at least 7 or 8 times because I was credentialed for a season there, so I got to watch him over 2 seasons, and I love going to their weekday games, and congratulations if you guys love football on Sundays as well. I think we're in that time period where we got like 40 straight nights of football. So that's amazing. That's amazing. You're an NBA fan. That's coming. About to hit the championship round of baseball. It's a great time to be alive for a sports fan, but a really great time to be a college football fan because what the Fun Belt provides, what Maction provides, and what Con USA provides. So it's about to be a great time, but I couldn't be more happier for Colorado. Big one. Coach Prime, hate him or love him. I know a lot of people dislike him. I'm a huge fan of Coach Prime, fan of him as a coach and also a fan of him as a player. I have been critical of him just because, but I think me being critical of him, just me doing what my job is to do, which is be honest. Those in-home visits, I think they really matter. Recruiting, I think that's where I've been severely critical of him, and also not allowing Caden Salter to start. They went with Ryan Staub. I called that Rob Johnson, Doug Flutie type ordeal. Like I seen this before, that Tyrod Taylor or Nathan Peterman ordeal. I seen it before. That's why I was critical of him. But I'm still a huge Colorado fan. I want them to win week in, week out. And the fact that guy was just in the hospital and it was on the sideline to coach that game, I'm sure they meant the world to the kids. Caden Salter is impressive. If they can continue to allow him to play his game, this team could be really good. And they beat a really good Iowa State. Really good Iowa State team. So great win. Is that the biggest one that he has since he's been there? I know they have other wins, but what a great win. What a great win. We got an Omarion Miller sighting. We've been waiting for that for a little while. Joseph Williams had an outstanding game as well. So shout out to Colorado. Huge win. Utah. Let me tell you something about the Utes of Utah. That team is scary. That team is really scary. They're a damn good football team. That's why the Texas Tech game, even in retrospect, still stumbles me because is Texas Tech by far the best team in the Big 12? Like, did Utah just have a slip up? Because Utah was at home that game. That's what impressed me. And then we saw Arizona State just get demolished this week. And they were number 21 in the country. Utah wasn't ranked. They are in the AP poll top 25, which we'll talk about next. But just looking at this team, and I always go back to what Kenny Dillingham said day one after fall camp practice. He said, it was a good practice, but we didn't play with passion. We didn't play with heart. He said, hey, somebody's got to go 3-9. You look and you listen to those words. There's a coach who's in tune with this football program. He understood that, hey, we're not as good as we think we are. And you guys are starting to believe that we're good. And his key thing, he said it all spring too, was that, hey, he wants Arizona State to become a blue blood. He's been saying it all off season. And the attention to detail and the intensity that he brings as a head coach, unfortunately, he can't play for his team. Because if he had more Kenny Dillinghams on that roster, we wouldn't have saw the game that we saw late on Saturday night. Devin Dampier, I'm so impressed with him. And I know a lot of people would like to see him do more through the air. 120 rushing yards, 3 tutties. And they steamrolled Arizona State. This game was an embarrassment. Sam Leavitt, what's going on with him? We were looking at him as a possible top 5 quarterback heading into the 2026 NFL draft. This is like the second or third game this season where like just 124 yards passing. That has to improve. And believe it or not, they still have a chance to win in the Big 12. I believe we may see some cannibalization there in the Big 12. I believe it in the SEC. I believe it in the Big 12 only because of the parity that we have in football now. Now, if you just look at the roster, yes, Texas Tech definitely has the best roster in that conference, and they're playing like the best team in that conference. But they will at some point run into a team with physicality that will throw them off, and especially with Baron Morton, he's day to day. Shout out to CFB Nation for being able to announce that, get that up on Twitter. Shout out to my dog Nino. But yeah, Baron Morton's day to day. So we got a lot to talk about. So that's our Into the News segment. Hopefully you guys enjoyed your college football weekend. Hopefully everybody made it back safely. I am the governor. If you've never seen the show before, this is my show, Governor of College Football, and we love to talk college football in a way that everybody don't like to talk college football. We just like to give you the news, and then we like to just get into these games, and I'm going to react to everything. Also, expect more film breakdowns. I've been getting some great reports from people that I trust in my circle. They say you need to do more film breakdowns, and I got a long list of quarterbacks that need to go break down. So that's important to me. So I'm gonna definitely be doing more film breakdown. Let's go ahead and get to this AP poll top 25 reaction. All right, here's our Week 8 AP poll. I can't wait till the CFB Nation poll comes out. I sent it out a day late. That's my fault. Hopefully we can get that to you guys by Wednesday morning. So it's the AP top 25. We got Ohio State coming in at number 1. Definitely the best team in the country. Miami coming in at number 2. Indiana coming in at number 3 after they were able to upset Oregon this week. Texas A&M coming in at 4. Ole Miss coming in at 5. There's a team who really disappointed me this weekend. I expected that game, Washington State, because I seen people put up points on Washington State. I expect that to be what I like to call a recruit tape. Bring you a bunch of recruits in. We about to put on a show. We're going to show you why you guys should choose Oxford over Tuscaloosa, over Knoxville, over Nashville, over Athens. Come in here. That's a recruit tape. That was supposed to be a recruit tape game, and what you got was almost heartbreak and heartache. So, Ole Miss is number 5. I still believe in them. Alabama, number 6. They're just trending in the right direction. I keep going back to this. It's one of my favorite sayings this college football season. Every college football season I have favorite sayings. This is definitely my favorite. Think about how you felt about Alabama, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, August 30th. Think about how you feel about them now. And think about how it changed. That's incredible to me. That's absolutely incredible to me. Texas Tech, number 7. Them dudes, all they do is win. Joey McGuire's got him a team. Offensively, they've always been sound. But they kind of got an SEC swagger this year. Should I be saying that about a team from Lubbock? They're playing outstanding defense. Like them a lot. Oregon fell down a few spots. They're down to number 8. Georgia's at 9. They're up a few spots. LSU's up a few spots. Tennessee almost lost to Arkansas. And Petrino had them boys looking better. I have to admit it. Some people don't want to admit it because we don't want to see that again because we've seen it before. It's deja vu all over again. But yeah, Petrino definitely had them looking better. Tech at 12. Tech continues to be disrespected. Tech continues to be disrespected. Undefeated. Haven't lost yet. I know they had some close calls. I know it was a controversial call versus Wake Forest. But why aren't they in the top 10? Tennessee has a loss. LSU has a loss. Why isn't Georgia Tech in the top 10? Look who's trending in the right direction. Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Great win versus NC State over this weekend. OU down a few spots after the loss in the rivalry. BYU almost lost this weekend. The fact that they was able to get it together and win that game. Me and Moon both had the feeling, and shout out to my dog, Dante from East Coast Gridiron. He had the feeling as well that North Fafita will be playing better than he played last year this year. And they gave BYU a serious scare. Missouri down to 16. Season's not lost. I'm going to talk about Missouri a little bit this weekend. And I was unimpressed with a few things, and I'll talk about those things shortly. We got Vandy at 17. The Cavaliers of UVA. I got to get to a UVA game this season. They're at 18. USF looked incredible Friday night. I know people saw that score and was like, North Texas frauds. I'm telling you, this game comes down to a couple plays. And if a couple plays can break you emotionally, like they had the fumble right before halftime in that game, and right after that, you just saw the USF train. It's going to be hard for South Florida to keep Alex Golesh. On a stage like that, Friday night in the American, dude, Navy. I didn't even bring up Navy this week. But first of all, why aren't they in the top 25? I get it. They were in a close game with Temple. But did you see the miracle in Philadelphia? That's what I'm coining it. I'm coining it the miracle in Philadelphia. 4th and 1. Blake Horvath decides to go 50. Do you watch college football or do you just skim through it? That'd be my question. That's why I asked. Like, do you watch college football? Or do you just watch all the big games of college football? Do you just watch your team? Do you just watch the conferences? Because I'm an NFL casual. People don't understand that about me. I'm not a casual Buffalo Bills fan. I love the Buffalo Bills. I could break down all the Buffalo Bills problems right now. So, yes, I'm a fanatic. But I'm a casual NFL fan. I am the opposite, whatever the opposite of casual is with college football, because I will watch any college football game. That is, the Bills not on. I did not watch a game yesterday. My dad was saying, yeah, George Pickens one of the best receivers in the league. I said, based on what? Because I'm just, not saying that George Pickens is a bad receiver. I went and checked the stats. I said, oh, he's dominating. Like, I am a casual NFL fan. I tell everybody that, but college football is different. Did you watch the miracle in Philadelphia? It looked like Evan Simon had just sealed the deal for his team at Temple, and their fans were ready to rush the field. One of the best games this past weekend that a lot of people aren't talking about, and Blake Horvath said, not so fast. The great words of Lee Corso. Just great scene there in Navy and them. Because we have a close approximation with Navy, Navy has shouted us out for our coverage at the American Media Days. Blake Horvath mom gave us a goat. Parents were really nice. Blake Horvath, stand-up dude. This kid can play on Sundays. You know, after graduation, they have that 5-year obligation. I think the NFL is going to come calling for this kid. This kid just makes a lot of plays. You didn't see a worry on anybody's face on the Navy sideline. Look at the other sideline. And the team that I respect, the coach I respect, and Casey Killer, I just have the utmost respect for Casey Killer. They look like they had won. And that's the danger. Like, yo, we about to upset Navy, we about to be partying and that. You know how it is on the sidelines, right? And then they won that. So, yeah, why Navy is in the top 25, I'm not sure. SC, great win. We're going to talk about them a little bit later, so I'm not going to say too much about them. Texas, great win. Welcome back to the top 25. That can be one of those games, those resolve games, though, the type of game that later on in the season, you enter in a tough moment, you can say to yourself, hey, we've been here before. We had a tough loss versus Florida. You know, their schedule isn't going to get any easier. Tough loss versus Ohio State, right? But you look at those type of games, and it sets you up and it prepares you for a game against a really physical Oklahoma team with their quarterback was just coming back, and Texas wasn't having it at all. So shout out to them. I think Memphis is third in longest home game winning streak. I think it's like over 10 or 12 games. Shout out to them, and they defend their home. Over the summer during American Media Days, Moon sat down with Ryan Silverfield, one of my best favorite interviews this past summer, just because of the amount of intel, the amount that Ryan Silverfield trusted my dog CFB Moon with. And he was like, yo, we defend our home. And he said, hey, last 10 years, we number 3 with most home wins. So they really defend their home. And the proof is in the pudding, man. We got the Utah Utes coming in at number 23. She'll be looked outstanding this week versus Arizona State. Really impressive win. Cincinnati is at 24. Cincinnati, I think, is a wild card. Now, you know, we 7 weeks through this season. We start to figure out who teams are, who teams aren't, who are the contenders, who are the pretenders. I think I look at a team like Cincinnati. Cincinnati can spoil some people's parties. Don't be surprised. And there's some lower level teams in that conference too that can spoil or perceived lower level teams, like a Colorado just beat Iowa State. What do we do with Houston? Houston just had a big win this weekend. Things about to get really interesting in the Big 12. That's our top 25. I do have a few takeaways from it, to be completely transparent with you guys, but I ain't mad at it at all. Like I said, Ole Miss a little disappointing because I thought they could have had a recruit tape game. They didn't have that recruit tape game. I'll tell you who did. That guy, Curt Cignetti. People want to go in Indiana and play for him. I'm telling you, that he's on his villain art. I'm telling you, he's on his villain art. So I'm not mad at it at all. But there's some games this upcoming week that could really shake up the poll. We got Ole Miss versus Georgia. That's 5 and 9 per the polls at this moment. Third Saturday in October. Doesn't get better than that week of college football. The third Saturday in October, we get Bama, team from Tuscaloosa. We get Tennessee, the team from Knoxville, and that's going to be an All-American Southern showdown. I'm telling you, that's what we're going to get out of that. Notre Dame and USC. We are not worthy. We are not worthy. I'm telling you, we are not worthy. There are certainly some games that can shake up the entire sphere of college football, and I'm not sure if we're ready for it, because you looked at this weekend, and this weekend told you, you know, everything that you thought you knew about college football, you didn't know about college football. But just think about the games that we have next weekend. Guess who else plays next weekend? Holy War is next weekend. BYU versus Utah. We are not worthy. I continue to tell you guys that, but y'all don't listen to me. We are not worthy. What happened to TCU, by the way? I saw my dog Squid Ten Toes put something on Twitter about that. I didn't get to see that game. I wonder what happened in that game. I don't know. But let's get into our reactions. We got 3 major reactions before we get into our Black Sunday segment. If you never watched the show, on the right-hand side, far right, that's our rundown. And you just follow that to know what topic we're on. So that's an AP poll. Each and every week it gets more difficult for these AP poll voters. Last week was the first week I've ever had sympathy for him. I'm like, this is difficult. This week I'm like, yeah, I also got sympathy for him. I got sympathy for myself because I got a poll I got to do as well for the CFB Nation poll. But all in all, I'm not mad at it. This is shaping out really well. And the beautiful thing about the season is it'll start shaping itself out. Even if we have weeks like that, the Haley Sawyer week, and we have weeks where poll voters just didn't know who won for some way, so for some reason, not sure. But at the end of the day, this thing is really starting to shape out well. Let's go ahead and get to our first reaction, Bama versus Mizzou. This was a game I wasn't sure who was going to win. Coming into it, you guys know I'm in a pick'em league. Shout out to my dog, Road Dog. Shout out to his his Pick'em League, S-Pop League, it's all creators, everybody who makes college football content, and I love it. And I love seeing what other people, other independent college football people as well. I think that's important. That's the important piece. The reason why I respect Road Dogg so much is because, one, he's a college football guy. He knows the sport inside out. That's why I appreciate him. But two, like, he put this thing together, and he got a bunch of people who are making noise as independent college football entities, and that's the brilliance of it. Like, you know, there's some big accounts that is in this Pick'em League, and you get to see how well you're faring. I think right now I'm tied for third. I'm with my dog, Road Dogg, for third. We got to have a good week. We ain't had a really good week in a while, so we need to have one of those. So coming into this game, just to let you guys know what my mindset was, I said that Missouri, if you guys haven't seen the preview for this game, Missouri, I thought was built for this type of game. They play with extreme balance. I thought that they did well with the war of attrition on the line. This scrimmage heading into this game. And I'm like, with that balance, I believe Ahmad Hardy should set some things up for Bo Papilla for them to take shots down the field. And they had moments, but there was just some parts of this game that really bothered me. Final score, Alabama 27, Missouri 24. And I thought the fans showed up. I thought the atmosphere was electric. And it was just another Ty Simpson game, adding to his buzz of him winning the Heisman. Surgical. 23 of 31, 200 yards, not a lot of yards, but 3 touchdowns, and he made plays when it mattered most. Think about that 4th and goal play, late in the fourth, 3 minutes left in the game, missed assignment by Missouri that helped him win the game. And the defining moment, I think this is, if Ty Simpson wins the Heisman, this will be the play with 5 minutes left on that drive for Alabama. It was a 4th and 8 conversion. You didn't know what Kalen DeBoer was going to do, if he was going to punt the ball, trust his defense, if they were going to try to kick a field goal, but then you're setting Missouri up for great field position. He just say, hey, I got a guy that can possibly win a Heisman this year in Ty Simpson. Let me go show the world why he's as great as he is. And that was a 4th and 8 conversion, which led to a 15-yard strike. That right there, and that drive ended, helped Alabama take a 10-point lead, that 27-17 lead with 5 minutes left. I think that truly flipped the script. So some of my issues with Missouri this game is, one, they couldn't finish drives, right? And in the SEC, let me tell you this, in the SEC, in the ACC, in the Mountain West, in the American, FCS, Division II, Division III, high school, Pee-wee, middle school league ball, I don't care where you're at. If you lose time of possession 2-1, the practicality of it is you're probably going to lose. So the fact this game was even close and they lost a time of possession 2-1, pretty much. It was 38 to 21 minutes that they lost time of possession. Your defense was on the field entirely too long. They really were. And there were moments in this game where Bo Papilla really, he had some throws that I think he'd like to have back. But also, it was the one interception, not the one that ended the game, the one a few drives before that, he threw it. He was like, it was a mental game. And that's what I'd like to see Eli Drinkowitz, or one of the coaches on that staff, grab him. And maybe it happened off camera. I wasn't at the game. And that's why I like to be at the game, because I'd just monitor it. He was pacing. And he was just talking to himself. Like, I don't know if that was him trying to get in his zone, but to me, it was clear frustration and him wearing his frustration on his sleeve. That's what I saw. And it puzzled me because, like, he ended up having opportunities to go win this game, but I felt like that moment in time was still bothering him. Like, dang, he letting the great city of Missouri down. Like, he's letting the university down. Like, he's letting his teammates down. He's letting the fans down. He's letting the coaching staff down. Like, that's what I got out of that moment. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's exactly what I got out of that moment for Bo Papilla. And I think somebody just needed to grab him and say, hey, you're going to go win this game for us. It's cool. You're going to win this game. Go ahead, get you some throws. We're good. We're going to win this game. Yes, we've wasted some opportunities. It's okay. Get it together. Collect yourself. We are going to win this game. And didn't happen ultimately, but I did look at that moment in time. And it's just, and I was watching it on television. Like I said, I wasn't at the game. I wish I was at the game because I'd have paid attention some more to that. But yeah, time of possession, 38 minutes, 33 seconds to 21 minutes and 27 seconds. You can't win games like that, and especially in the SEC. You just simply cannot win games like that. That is an embarrassment. I'm sure coming into this game, some of the keys to victory for Eli Drinkowitz and his staff were, one, every drive ending a kick, point after touchdown, field goal, punt, not turning the ball over. 2, winning the war of attrition on the line of scrimmage. 3, possessing the ball. Keeping our defense off the field. So Ty Simpson and company don't have these long drives and our defense is drained. Well, your defense was drained. Your defense was 100% drained. They should not have been on the field as long as they was on the field. You couldn't put drives together. And then Amar Hardy, who we expected to be, we knew it was going to be a key point defensively for Alabama, but dude, like he didn't get enough touches, but he couldn't because you guys didn't have the ball. That's what was crazy to me. At times, Bo Probilla, I said it a little bit earlier, there's some throws he wish he had back. And to me, he looked rattled at times. 16 to 28, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And like I said, there's throws he absolutely needed to have back. Right? After the first interception, he's pacing the sideline. The second interception, you're trying to make something happen. So I don't fault him for that. We did see the kid in the corner, and dude had a temper tantrum. He was wide open. He's jumping still after the play. I mean, everybody's going to the sideline. Alabama's coming onto the field. You know what I'm saying? They end the game. And he's still jumping like, yo, I'm open. Like, it was crazy to me. So, yes, Bro Probilla has to play better. All's not lost for Missouri, though. Let's be clear about that. The Tigers did end their 15-game home winning streak. Second longest in the nation. That's crazy. Alabama just played outstanding. This was the way that they wanted to play. I'm going to be real with you. To me, this was like a Nick Saban-style game for Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer got a Nick Saban-style victory, and they are trending in the right direction. A lot of us before the season thought Alabama could be really good. CFB Nation coined Ty Simpson as the MVP of the spring because he had played so outstanding. That's why that Florida State loss confused a lot of us. It wasn't that they just lost. It was how they lost and the physicality. You look at Florida State now. I mean, dog walked by Miami, upset by Pitt this past weekend. They just, my opinion, just haven't looked good. And so the fact that Alabama lost in them is still mind-boggling to me because of how good that they've looked. So a lot of things went right for Alabama. The poise that Ty Simpson played with was just incredible. Absolutely incredible. He was nails on the downs that they needed him to be. I think he converted a 4th and goal twice this game. We talked about the 4th and 8th. If he does win the Heisman, that'll be the play that I think that they play a lot. Jared Miller was effective running the ball, but it was to possess the ball, the ability to continuously pick up third downs. They were playing the success rate game, outstanding success rate this game for Alabama. I'm just impressed with this team. I really am. Missouri had opportunities this game, but you just cannot lose that time of possession battle the way that they lost this. You just can't lose it in that fashion, in my opinion. So, a lot to like about both of these teams. All's not lost for Missouri. I say that confidently. I say it with the utmost confidence. But at the end of the day, right, you can't play a game, I think, at any level and lose 2-1 time of possession. The fact that you guys even had a chance at the end was incredible to me. But you just can't play a game and lose time of possession like that, especially when you're at home. It's even worse on the road, of course, but you're at home. Like, possess the ball. Have those long drives. Give your defenses rest. And your defense did not have rest. Let's get into this next game, Indiana versus Oregon. It's a lot to like about this Indiana program. It truly is a lot to like about this program. What don't you like about them? To go into Eugene, Autzen Stadium, I believe everybody that voted in our thing, Pat McAfee was one of the anomalies. I think he just did it, one of the outliers. I think he just did it just so it wasn't the same for everybody. But maybe he truly believed that. But Indiana went into Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon. They won 30-20. And a lot of us, looking back on it, it's like, Cignetti is such a confident guy. He speaks his mind. He says what a lot of us are thinking or what a lot of coaches are afraid to say. He'll say it. And, the disrespect to Illinois, the backhanded comment versus Iowa, this was heading into the game. It was like Curt Cignetti just kept complimenting how good Dan Lanning was. Was that a part of his plan?
Family on me, family on
Is
three.
Curt
1, 2, 3.
Cignetti officially on his villain arc? Like I tweeted this past Saturday, because I believe he's on his villain arc. Like, to compliment Dan Lanning the way he that's not Curt Cignetti's style. But I feel like he's just on his villain arc. Now, I believe he probably believes those things, because I do believe that Coach Lanning is the best coach in college football. I believe that. Him and Kirby Smart. But I think Curt Cignetti is on his villain arc. Like how he typically just talk the trash, he need to talk this week. Like overconfident. That was crazy. And some people believe that Oregon was the best team in football. That's a debate we had on Overreaction Monday a few nights ago after they had defeated Penn State. But this was a masterclass by Indiana. Really a masterclass. And to me, I learned a lot in this game about both of these teams. Fernando Mendoza showed great poise. Definitely one throw he wants to have back because he could have cost his team the game. But, 215 yards in this game. Roman Henry, one of the best quarterbacks that I think a lot of people didn't pay attention to because of kind of the sophomore slump he had. In Maryland, it could have been a junior slump or a sophomore slump. I can't remember. There was one year he had an outstanding season. He was like a few yards away from 1,000 yards. So I think the expectations versus reality won the line, to be honest with you. But 2 touchdowns on this game, 70 yards. They had a couple running backs that were just playing phenomenal for Indiana this game. And Mendoza and Elijah Surratt, man, mental telepathy is something I talked about in my film breakdown the other day. When you have a mental telepathy between quarterback and wide receiver, and where, hey, you're reading this like I'm reading this, I'm going to trust to throw this ball, and you're going to be where I need you to be. I think people underestimate how important that is. Because if we're not reading the same thing, right, and I'm reading that, hey, you understand that you need to find a soft hole in the zone, but you need to beat it. And you can see what I'm saying. Versus you thinking, oh, they're a man, and you just keep trying to continue to run your route. No, they're in zone.
Family on me, family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
We think they're in zone, right, Fernando Mendoza? And I say, yeah, you think they're in zone, right, Elijah Surratt? And there's like a mental telepathy between quarterback and wide receiver. Second year in a row, right? And this is kind of like what Jeff Brom is doing at Louisville right now. Second year in a row that Curt Cignetti said, alrighty, I don't have the quarterback on my roster. Let me get somebody out to put. Last year was Curtis Ford. Outstanding year from Indiana a year ago. It was interesting to see how things worked for Indiana this year, especially with Tino Ciceri going to UCLA. And, of course, that didn't work. But he was their passing game. Now, Shanahan's calling all of their plays for them. And it's just impressive. Elijah Surratt, 8 catches, 121 yards. Truly unstoppable. He really was. And for me, it's the game within the game in watching this game. That defensive game plan that Indiana had this game, pure brilliance. The way that they ran that cover 2, and I believe both of the interceptions that Dante Moore threw were against cover 2, which was interesting. And it frustrated Dante Moore. And he finished with 186 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And he was sacked 6 times. You see the difference in quarterback play. Quarterbacks don't want to get hit. But you see the difference when you're able to get pressure on the quarterback. And sometimes it's not about a sack. I know sack is one of those stats. Sometimes it can be a loaded stat. But how many times you get hurt? How many times you get knocked down? All of those things start to add up when you're playing it. Right? Outstanding preparation by anyone. This was a business trip. It was business as usual. We're coming here to win the game. 90% of America don't think we can win this game. Our fans in Bloomington do think we can win this game. This was a business trip for the Indiana Hoosiers. Another home game winning streak was stopped this week. We talked about the one in Mizzou, and we're talking about the one in Eugene. And it's incredible. Like I said, it's incredible what they were able to do.
Family on me, family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
First win over a top 5 team since 1967. You're going back almost 60 years since the last time that happened. And then they were able to win the time of possession game. I talked about this in the previous segment. I'll talk about it now. Now, was the disparity huge like it was in the last game? No. But 7 minutes in college football is an eternity. 7 minutes in college football is truly an eternity. And they was able to win it 33-26. Outstanding. Outstanding. And we saw that Oregon did drop in the rankings. They were top 25. But, at the end of the day, this is one of them games, and this is also Oregon's, believe it or not, first loss other than the playoffs. In regular season play, this is their first loss against Big Ten competition. So, Oregon will be right there in the thick of things. This is one of those games that when you got a sicko at head coach and Dan Lanning, oh, this tape, he's going to love this tape. He's going to beat on his players. And by the end of the week, he'll be loving on it. Yeah.
Family on me, family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
It's going to be intense in Eugene this upcoming weekend. I can guarantee you that. So I believe that Dan Lanning was out-coaching this game. I think Indiana played with a great deal of poise. They played with a great deal of confidence. They played with a great deal of edge. Mendoza's legit. He really is legit. And when you start thinking about some of these quarterbacks, right, who just don't look right now, and if they decide to stay another year in college, some quarterbacks don't have the choice. But what if Lenore Sellers decided to stay?
Finish the day, y'all boys. Finish on 3. 1, 2, 3.
kid DJ Lagway, who can't get right no more before he decides, hey, I'm gonna go play for him. There's gonna be an interesting quarterback signing. Just monitor it for Indiana. They said I ain't rushing the season. I promise you I'm not rushing the season. But there might be an interesting signing. Okay, it's a great one. Marquee win for Curt Cignetti. I had the opportunity to see him in Huntington, Virginia a lot.
Family on me, family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
James Madison. This guy is who we think he is. Bravado, out of this world. Moxie, out of this world. But he's on this villain arc. I look at Curt Cignetti as the Grinch who stole Christmas, and he may be the Grinch who steals the Big Ten. This guy is real deal. Outstanding coach, outstanding job. That's a great team victory win, and not something that I had on my bingo card this past weekend. To be completely honest with you, just definitely something I didn't have on my bingo card. Let's get to this next segment. We got Michigan versus USC. I'm excited about this. Alrighty, this is a game that I predicted, and I predicted who would win correctly, and I'm excited about that because I think a lot of people was like, yo, Michigan's really trending in the right direction. But for me, college football is about balance. You can get away with, committed to the run heavy or get away with committed to the pass heavy, but there will be a team that will prevent you from being able to be one-dimensional. And they ran into that team, and a team with great balance, oh, by the way, in USC. I think this is Lincoln Riley's best win in a very long time. I really think so. But USC 31, Michigan 13, and SoCal. And I don't know if you see this or if you guys caught this. I caught it, and I seen it. I've never seen Lincoln Riley this fired up. Oh, he was pissed. He was pissed. Sharon Moore definitely had a pregame jab saying the Coliseum was only sold out because we all seen the pictures of the Coliseum not being sold out. Well, because Michigan was in town. And that was pure fuel because he was asked about it. He looked at the reporter and he stormed off. Dude, if Lincoln Riley could have suited up that game, he would have suited up. He was that pissed off. But guess what happened? You run your mouth. You wrote checks with your mouth that your play couldn't cash. And I love when that happened. You start running your mouth, start feeling big. Start feeling like, you know what I'm saying, you the big bad Wolverines. Don't write checks that your play can't cash, bro. You guys are supremely one-dimensional. And a lot of times, if you run into a team that can stop you from being one-dimensional and they can put up points, you're in trouble. King Miller, bro. The story of the night, the star of the night, 158 yards on the ground. He was definitely running like a man possessed for sure. And with the retooled offensive line, I think is what made it incredible. Jaden Maava, he runs Lincoln Riley's air raid, I think, a little bit differently than most people do. But 265 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did have an interception on the night. But the thing that I like about him is his ability to play within the system. And when the system don't work, his ability to get creative and play off script. I think that's incredible by Jaden Maava. I think we've seen that from time to time in this game. But for me, in this game, we can look at the numbers. We can look at the fact that it was a blowout. But for me, it was the physicality of USC. Them being able to win the war of attrition on the line of scrimmage. And I remember when they got the guy D'Anton Lynn, a defensive coordinator who was previously at UCLA, and that physicality that he brought, like to be able to have that intel to say, hey, I come from Don Wink Martindale's tree. Hey, Lincoln, these are some of the looks I think you can expect this upcoming weekend, and you guys may be able to execute here, and there. And I think they was able to just have a think together, and just able to just create an outstanding game plan. Ladies and gentlemen, USC is for real. USC is for real. I hear guys in my circle and outside of my circle, people that are very critical of Lincoln Riley. I'm going to completely be transparent with you. Y'all know I'm an air raid guy. So you guys know I'm going to already have his back, just being an air raid guy. But I think some of the adjectives that are negative denotations, adjectives that are placed upon Lincoln Riley aren't accurate sometimes. I've heard the denotation that he can't develop quarterbacks. I don't think that's factual. I just don't. I don't see where people see that. I don't see where people get that from. It's not his fault he's been able to recruit great quarterbacks. So because he didn't have to develop them much, all right, did he not develop Jalen Hurts? Oh, wait. Did he not develop Jalen Hurts? Did Jalen Hurts not look like a different quarterback? The key to Jalen Hurts' success now was the time he spent with Lincoln Riley. Because he looked different in Tuscaloosa than he did that season in Norman playing for Lincoln Riley. I'm just being honest with you. Completely transparent with you. So I never understood that notion. And there's people that I respect, people who know the game, who says some of this stuff like this. And I just don't agree with it. I don't. That's why a lot of times I don't comment on it. But yeah, I don't see it. I really don't. I think he is a great quarterback developer. I think he is a quarterback whisperer. I really do believe that. And this year I've seen him get really creative with the system, because in the air raid, the system determines who's going to be successful. It's not the other way around. But sometimes when you got a guy like Malachi Lemon, well, the system does dictate who's going to be successful, but we need to make sure we find Malachi Lemon, right? And so I believe in that a lot. I truly do believe in that a lot. And that catch he had was outstanding for the 12-yard touchdown. But like I say, this entire season, we've seen Michigan just go on tears, man. Especially their ability to run the ball. We've seen them go on absolute tears. But the fact that Michigan got out Michigan and it was USC in return who was able to run the ball really well, that's outstanding for me. So there was a few cute things in this game that really mattered to me. USC won the war of attrition on the line of scrimmage. They won the time of possession game. Michigan was just 2 for 9 on third down. Why? Because USC defensively, the Anton Lennon Company was able to play the success rate game. That's what they was able to do. Oh, Bryce, you're going to have to pass the ball, brother. Y'all not about to be one-dimensional against us. You can do it with everybody else, but y'all ain't about to be one-dimensional against us. So, Michigan's offense, they had a few plays, but honestly, and one of them was a broken coverage, but, they still made the play, so it doesn't matter. But, in all honesty, they struggled this game. And I'm not sure if this will be a lesson for Sharon Moore. People going to talk. People going to always talk. This is college football. That's what people do. And I don't mean a lesson in that facet. I mean hey, we got to be more than one-dimensional. I know we got a freshman quarterback. Let's unleash him. Because we don't want to be in a game where we got to score points. Right? Possessing the ball only takes you so far, right? But outstanding game. Wolverines only had 109 yards on the ground on 31 carries. That's 3.5 yards per carry for a team that could not be stopped running the ball. That's war of attrition on the line of scrimmage. USC, think about it. Think about it like this. The Big Ten is one of those gritty conferences. You got to earn your keep and find a way to win. And the Pac-12 was the opposite. The Pac-12 was finesse, right? It was the West Coast offenses. It was high-scoring games. It was defenses that couldn't play other than Utah, right? That's what you saw in the Pac-12. So, to me, that stark disparity between the two conferences, and I said it when it was announced, the expansion for the Big Ten, and teams were going there. I said, well, can they bring their lunch pail to games? Are they comfortable with winning ugly games? That was the biggest question I had for Lincoln Riley. And we look at their record last year. They lost, 5 one-score games a year ago? 5 one-score games. I said people don't even realize how good USC could have been. That's why Nick Saban was saying last year that he thought USC was going to be really good. But maybe he was just a year early. USC is here. That Illinois game could have went differently. They're a couple plays away from being undefeated. This is a damn good football team. And yes, I'm pounding the table. And Lincoln Riley deserves all of this. I love to see him get that angry. Welcome. 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 I was so happy to see that. I'm so happy Sharon Moore said what he said. Because Lincoln Riley was fired the hell up. And that's what we need. It's good for college football. So I think there's a wake-up call. Maybe for both teams. Both teams needed a wake-up call. Michigan now 4-2. USC moves to 5-1. And things in the Big Ten about to get real interesting. Things in the Big Ten about to get real interesting. Man, I'm telling you, when you play this USC team, look out. This team can play. This team can really play. Damn good team. Lincoln Riley is doing an outstanding coaching job. And for now, Coach of the Year award, yeah, his name should be up there too. Put his name in that hat as well. Because he deserves to be there. Outstanding job by USC. This was a masterclass. Both of these last 2 games we talked about were masterclasses in my opinion. So let's talk about Black Sunday. Yesterday was Black Sunday, man. I think about what Black Tuesday was. What was that? In 1929 when the stock market crashed. And yesterday, some programs, on Saturday, their stock market crashed as well. And the biggest story, the biggest news is the picture I got of James Franklin up here. I thought he should have been fired a week ago. I'm just going to be honest. After that UCLA game, because it was something that, from a mental thing, I couldn't grasp it 100%. I was at the Maryland game, and then in the group chat, Nino was like, yo, Nico's going crazy right now. I said, huh? And I'm looking at my phone, like, because I couldn't see it until after I got home. Like, I just couldn't grasp the fact that they lost to UCLA. Even after I heard it, I went and looked at the score. It still did not make sense to me. And how did they follow that game up? By going at home and losing to Preston Stone and Northwestern. And great job, Northwestern. I think a lot of times we get caught about talking about the bigger program without saying, hey, great job, Northwestern, first, before we even get into our Black Sunday. But yesterday was Black Sunday. We had a few Black Sundays this year. I remember, I forgot what week it was, but when Deshaun Foster and Brent Pry got fired, same Sunday. This weekend we had 3 coaches fired, and there's some really nice jobs opening up. So we're going to talk about it. What does this mean for college football? And I know a lot of Penn State fans were saying, well, I don't think we can afford his $50 million buyout, to be honest with you. And, hey, they found a way. Sometimes when something just needs to happen, you find a way. And to me, this James Franklin thing goes back to the spring game. Remember, the gentleman called him a fraud. And James Franklin was ready to fight after that. I don't think James Franklin showed fight like that since. Just going to be honest with you. The talent that they had on this team, I just don't get it. This would be one of those years that when we look at it, like every year college football, once the season is over with, 2 things happen for me. As a fan of the sport, I get sad. I get really sad. I really do. It's almost like when Buffalo loses a playoff game. I get really sad, and I'm only in a dark place for a minute. But as a creator in college football, I get it really happy, because if you can't make content and you're a college football creator and you can't make content during the season, what are you doing? It's so easy to make content. But for me, I think where creators separate themselves is in the off season. So I get excited because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to eat. I'm about to be going crazy. About to be putting out these shows. And those 1%ers like us here at, Governor of College Football, that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. So 2 things happened for me towards the end of the season. But back to my original thought. We heard the chants, fire Franklin, and they had to do something. They just had to do something. And, and then a 12-year tenure there, and it collapsed in such great fashion for those who love the cinematic approach to the sport. He does walk away with $50 million left on his contract, 49 to be exact. They started 3-0 and was ranked 2nd in the country. They lost 3 straight games. There was a lot of us, they were a no-brainer pick for the college football playoff, and for some of us, they were a pick to win the national championship. But the way that they lost 42-37 to UCLA and then losing 22-21 at home to Northwestern, it's like, when are you going to get sick of this? The entire offseason, I called him James. We almost had him Franklin, because there'll be moments like, dog, like he's just playing to compete and not to get embarrassed. But sometimes when you continue to play like that and you continue to play not to win, you get losses like you get in SoCal versus UCLA, or you get a loss like you get at home versus Northwestern, and the facet that they lost in, that just not being aggressive enough offensively. Drew Aller is out for the year. I'm heartbroken for that kid. I really am heartbroken for that kid. But Franklin leaves a legacy that when people think about the James Franklin era at Penn State, these 2 things will be said. Outstanding recruiter. He could really recruit. But 4-21 versus AP top 10 teams. And in a conference where you're going to, year in and year out, you're going to play, if not 1, 2, or 3 top 10 teams, you can't play like that. And just 1-10 in the Big Ten against ranked opponents. That's bad. That's real bad. Associate head coach Terry Smith takes over as the interim. And now, media has granted the gift of saying who should be the replacement. Heard a lot of replacement ideas. Will Stein, I've heard that one. I've liked that one. Heard that one for a while. Matt Campbell surprised me from Iowa State. Heard that was one of the guys as well. So we'll speculate over this over the next few weeks. But I just feel for that fan base. I feel for those players who said, hey, let's run it back. Players that could have been drafted high in last year's NFL draft who said, let's run it back, but, and could have went to the NFL. It's heartbreaking to hear. It's really heartbreaking. I feel for that fan base. I think some people think I like when coaches get fired. That's not true. That's not true at all. But at the end of the day, if it needs to be done, it needs to be done. Why? Because this is a results-driven business. You're not paid for hard work. You're paid for results. That's college football. It's not like anything else you've seen. Trent Bray at Oregon State. Horrible. And Corvallis, horrible. 0-7 start. 5-14 as the head coach there. And they've had opportunities to win games this year, but it was another one that just had to be done, especially as the Pac-12 reintroduces itself as a G5 conference next year. Well, it'll be a part of the G6 now. They just been getting dominated, man. You know, like how they've been losing, like had opportunities against Houston and lost. Wake Forest beat the heck out of them with a backup quarterback. Robbie Ashford didn't even play. They lost to App State as well. Like, they've struggled this year. Bray will receive roughly a $4 million in buyouts. But this is a bad look for the program, especially if you're trying to recruit and tell people, hey, I know this isn't the Pac-12 that you used to, but, hey, I think this G6 rendition of the Pac-12 is going to be fruitful, right? It's bad because what's going to end up happening is decommits and then all of that stuff. But I believe Oregon State brass made the right decision. Don't rush in announcing a head coach. Make sure you guys find the right fit. And even though Jonathan Smith and company looked bad this past weekend versus UCLA, they got dominated at home in East Lansing. I thought that was a great hire for Oregon State, but after the mismanagement of George Kliavkoff when the Pac-12 essentially decimated, he had to go find a job elsewhere. Trent Dilfer was also fired. This one was one we saw coming for a little long time. The only reason why I saw it coming was it wasn't just a play. I think it was his relationship with the admin there, the relationship with the brass there. And Trent Dilfer is one of those type of guys who I respect. He got moxie. He got bravado. He's a guy that, like, he's not well liked. You know what I'm saying? And I can identify with that. Like, he's just the type of guy that he's going to speak his mind. And sometimes whether you want to hear it or not, he's going to speak his mind. You're going to always know where he at. You know, he's out after a 2-4 start. I believe they lost 3 straight losses. 9-21 in 2+ years. Yeah, they need to go in a different direction. Not going to lie, I was a little confused yesterday when the AD, who has the name of Mark Ingram, announced that he was fired. I'm like, wait one goddamn minute. When did Mark Ingram, the running back from Alabama, become the AD there? I'm like, how does he do that and juggle the pregame show that he has to do? And then I found out it was another Mark Ingram. But, yeah, they gave up 53 points to Florida Atlantic. Zach Kitley, shout out to my dog. Yes, Zach Kitley is an outstanding coach. And that was their 3rd straight loss. They're ranked dead last in the AAC in scoring defense. They allowed 41.3 points per game. So Florida Atlantic said, yeah, we'll take 12 more, please. I'm not sure what direction they go in after this, because you would think Trent Dilfer, Super Bowl winning quarterback, got experience in the NFL, probably can teach players how to get to that next level. It's heartbreaking. I wonder which direction they'll go in now. That remains to be seen. But Black Sunday wasn't the first Black Sunday of the season. May not be the last Black Sunday of the season, but it was certainly Black Sunday. So to those coaches who have been fired, prayers out to you and your family. But I have to be real and I have to be honest. Some of these needed to be done, right? So, outstanding show today. I had a lot of fun talking to you guys about college football. A lot of uploads. Make sure you guys are following on YouTube. We'll break down each of these segments and, of course, upload them to YouTube. So, just stay on standby. We got more film breakdowns coming this week, more episodes, live episodes coming this week. So, just be on the lookout for a lot of that. As I always like to say, there are no more victories in a sport that's in advance. That's why college football has the greatest regular season. Until next time, you all take care. Governor of college football, we're going to recap ACC.
Hey, that's CJ
Great
on
defensive
that
minds.
track.
They have to be better on that side of the ball.